Good afternoon. Welcome to another podcast of Chatting with Dave and Sam. I'm Dave.
And I'm Sam. Welcome.
And behind the controls, we've got the rock star, Nato.
We need sound props.
Some problem. I'm not going to pretend to play the drums at all today. But so today it's just you and I.
Indeed.
So we decided to talk about impact entrepreneurship, which is something very close to both our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we practice almost on a daily basis, if not daily. And we're going to be sharing a bit of that particular topic and how it relates in our particular lives.
I'm looking forward.
But before we get into that, we're going to go into our weekly segment of talking about current affairs. And guess who's in the news again? Eskom, yes.
The infamous Eskom.
Infamous Eskom.
What's happening now? Do we have good news? Do we have bad news? What kind of news is this, Dave?
I do hope for the day where we sit here and actually state we have good news. However,
it's not today.
Not today.
Oh dear.
In the infinite wisdom of Treasury, they've said, okay, well, let me just give a bit of context, okay? So all state-owned enterprises, they have to record in their financial statements what is wasteful and irregular expenditure.
Okay.
It's very high. It's normally, across the board, it runs into billions a year.
Okay.
So it also gives the taxpayer, which, I mean, we're the people that are supporting the state-owned enterprises, some context as to how much of our good or earned money is actually wasted and just stolen. And okay, well, let's just leave it there.
It's gone.
Okay, gone.
It was not used properly.
Not used properly is a very nice term. Actually, let's just say stolen.
Wasted, yeah.
So that's just quite a key indicator of what the situation with state-owned enterprises in terms of the expenditure. Treasury announced that Eskom does not have to disclose the irregular, wasteful expenditure.
Does not have to?
Disclose it in the annual financial statements anymore.
Why not?
Well, let's just make a few assumptions. Okay,
they haven't given reason.
No, well, no, there's no reason. But I will go into the assumptions here. So there was such an enormous backlash on this that they've changed their mind. It just shows you that everybody was up in arms.
Backpedal.
So why would you think an ANC-led government would not want to disclose to the public how much money they've wasted and they've squandered in Eskom?
It's not a difficult one, but I would take a wild guess and say because they don't want to get caught.
Well, it's because and because they've actually wasted a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was just when you know. Sorry, I'm all over the place because I'm just. The audacity is just incredible.
And it just continues blatantly, like
blatant theft, no accountability.
And now you can't ask us about it.
And they're basically turning around to the South African population that pays the taxes. We're showing you a big fat toffee.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to disclose.
Leave us alone.
Yeah. No. So it's just the audacity is just enormous. So people just turn around and say, no, not so much, and they reverse the situation. But what's even more intriguing, is we said it this last time as well, a couple of times, that we're not on level 6, where we haven't been on level 6 for stage 6 on a few weeks now, right? Mm-hmm. Since the CEO...
The debacle.
Okay. And what was Andre's narrative quite a few times? It was about sabotage, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So now that we've got this Minister of Electricity, sabotage is down. Okay. So why would these these 4 criminal syndicates operating in Eskom, why would they not be sabotaging the plants anymore?
Where'd they go, Dave?
No, but why wouldn't they be sabotaging?
Right now.
We've got a Minister of Electricity, which is obviously been put forward by the ANC. So why are these criminal syndicates not sabotaging the plants anymore?
Okay, because their cronies are no longer there.
Because now they're allowed to squander and plunder as they please. And this is why
It
Treasury...
will not be disclosed.
This is why Treasury said they don't want to disclose it. And now we've got better levels.
And I'm sure they got a immediately implemented kind of instruction from the higher ups to keep it on the low down. Because now,
just in a blind eye.
Yeah.
Just in a blind eye.
Yeah, of
so
course.
therefore there's no sabotage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorted.
Yeah, but it's sorted. But what's going to happen? What's going to happen next year when the Eskom goes to NERSA and wants a 30% increase because the 4 criminal syndicates are plundering at will?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to be paying.
The consumer.
We're going to be paying the ANC's coffers by paying more electricity.
We are paying for their wastage right now even.
And theft. Because this new Minister of Electricity, as we go on a roadshow, and all he says, it's talking about that we just need better capacity, etc. But it's not talking about the looting that's going on. So now, the criminal syndicates that funds the ANC, they've got a free rein, and Treasury tried to cover it up by not having to disclose it.
The corruption is escalating.
It's incredible. And, I mean, you can't make... sorry, I know I can't swear, but I really have this desire to swear, but you can't make this up. You can't make this up. If you watch a film on Netflix and you put this up, Nantel, you would say, no, this is like not really... This can't be true.
Yeah.
It cannot be true.
It's actually happening.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Since he's been appointed, the load shedding has been getting a little bit better. Eh? Is it me? Was it me? Or?
It has.
No, because I was just saying, there's no sabotage anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. Can I ask you something unrelated to this now? What do you think about BRICS and what's happening with BRICS and the United States and and
just give me the background. What's that?
So BRICS, there's been quite a lot of countries that now are applying to or become part of BRICS. Mm-hmm. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, Turkey, Argentina. It's like developing countries, okay? And they are talking about introducing a currency for BRICS, that we all operate on one currency. And what that means, it means that the dollar will be devalued. Already...
The petrodollar.
Yeah. No, the dollar itself. The dollar itself. So already Brazil have said when they interact with China, they're going to pay in yuan, not in dollars anymore.
Oh, really?
Okay? Yeah. So there's this big push now.
Wow, that's a huge shift.
And if BRICS expands with all these people, these other countries, emerging economies come on as part of BRICS, it will represent 25% of the global gross domestic product. It's going to be a big powerhouse, and South Africa is part of it.
Do you think that this is a huge, China move?
Well, this is part
to kind of ring-fence their supporters and... Because, China, in Africa alone, they've got huge property stakes. They've got huge stakes in the mining as well. So
it is part of... you can't... No, Nantel, you can't believe this. We're on a show and Nantel's trying to kill this poor fly that's been going around and it's to no avail. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Anyway, so this is actually good news for South Africa because although our biggest trading partners is America and Europe, but if this BRICS expands, it's going to be very beneficial for us.
It would stabilize the economy to some extent. Yeah.
And if they bring a single a currency that the countries in BRICS can trade, it's going to be good for us. So there's a shift.
That's awesome.
But there's a shift now towards that kind of situation. And Saudi Arabia and Iran, if they form part of this bloc is going to be the biggest petroleum bloc in the world.
Of course.
The thing is with the relationship with America and South Africa was never like a partnership, really. It was looking down at the whole of Africa, if you have a relationship. Look at what they did with Gaddafi. This week I just found out that Gaddafi was busy with the biggest aggregation project.
Yeah.
It was. I'll give you the stats after the show. I'll speak to you about it. But then America bombed it in one day. It was like a couple of billion rands worth to bring infrastructure to Gaddafi's country, and they messed it up. So, but the thing is with China, I think the relationship is actually a better relationship. It's more a partnership than anything else, man.
You know, okay, so just to get back on Gaddafi, okay, there was this evidence to show Gaddafi wanted an African currency backed by gold. And if that had happened, it would have collapsed the dollar because the dollar is not backed by gold. That's the real reason why Gaddafi was taken out. Okay.
Well, I can understand even the move for a separate currency, and I believe that's driven by the Saudis. Because remember, their currency at the moment is this. I think it's the strongest in the globe. So I'm talking about the dinar.
No, that's Dubai.
Yeah, but aren't they trading under that?
Yeah. So
they've got a very strong currency, Dave.
Yeah. So
they'd be bringing that weight to the.
But it's China driving. They want a yuan to be the.
Oh, they want that to be the main
currency. They want to be the
main
main currency.
Okay.
They want the yuan to be the main currency. And in terms of trading partners. I mean the bloc is quite interesting because it includes India as well.
Yeah.
So it's these are emerging economies,
massive manufacturing countries
Brazil,
as
Russia,
well.
India, China, and South Africa.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's a few Eastern countries that's also joining. Yeah.
Those are your traders.
Like I said, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Iran, the whole on North Africa. It's Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, the ones to join. Then you got Saudi Arabia, Iran, Argentina, I think Turkey. These are economies that, like I said, if they all join, it will represent 25% of the global gross domestic product, and I think it's a good thing.
And I think
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think America is planning to go to war against Russia and China collectively. Because they renewed the budget, their military budget by I think
it's $860 billion.
Yeah, that's
so they're getting ready for war.
So it's predicted that America and China will be at war in 2025.
And I think that is why they're going after Trump.
Yeah.
Because he's been arrested. Do you know about that?
Yeah, he was arrested. Did you see the charges?
What are the charges?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
The prostitute.
No, it's so it's 34 indictments, okay, but it's because the 34 indictments is one transaction, and that's paying off the prostitute, the hush money.
So they've just cut it up into many charges.
That one transaction into 34 charges. So everybody, even the Democrats, are saying that it's quite ridiculous. It's not. It's going to just be thrown out of court. It's just totally ridiculous. It's not that I'm a Trump supporter, by the way, but I think that
perhaps just a distraction. You know what? The media is always playing games.
It's a distraction because Americans' inflation is highest has been for a while. Stock markets, Biden is just completely an idiot. And so Biden, in his infinite wisdom, is trying to reduce the petroleum output in America but not doing deals with Venezuela and other countries to import oil. And people saying, but let's open up our own reserves that's going on here. No, but it's a very, it's very fashionable to talk about climate change and that. So Biden wants to be seen as doing something for climate change. Meantime, he's now trying to do a deal with Venezuela of all places, to actually procure oil. No, you know what, guys? I just think the world is just pretty messed up.
It is. I was going to say, everybody's got their own bag of poop going on.
Yeah.
But what is interesting in terms of the Saudi Arabia, China, kind of Brazil, South Africa, and African continents coming together is why has this not happened long ago?
No, because it's happening though. But remember that
China, I'm trying to understand what stopped.
Can't be trusted though.
What stopped this before, and what could possibly stop it now?
I think it's a case of a bully. America is definitely a bully in the world stage, and it takes time for the kids, the younger or the kids itself, the individuals to gain that courage and say, look, we had enough now. Yeah. But it takes more than one guy to stand up. Yeah. It takes a Putin to lead it. It takes a China to say, look, I'm a superpower, I'm going to help you guys. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's probably why it takes so long. But if you think about it, it's long for us, it's taking some time for us, but in a global political sense, it's a decade or two is not really that long if you think about it. You know what I'm saying?
We can't trust China and Russia though. Hey? They're not, you can't trust America, but China... Remember, China and Russia have got their own vested interests. They're not the good guys trying to help Africa.
But let's not forget that Russia actually helped South Africa in the apartheid years. So let's give them that.
But it wasn't that. It wasn't this Russia.
Okay,
it's not this Russia. It's a different.
Or this China from 50, 100 years ago.
China wasn't helping. China wants Africa's minerals. Okay, believe me, that China's a new colonizer. Okay, they're not just here good guys. They do deals. They say we'll build you roads and this and ports, etc. But they're stripping the forests.
Yeah,
they're killing our fisheries across Africa. They're not the good guys. Let's not.
Yeah, it's all resource based. So what they can get out
one has
of
to go in with these kind of situations with the eyes wide open.
Well, that's why we need governments who have foresight and are able to actually make decisions for the best of the country.
Yes.
For example, allowing other governments and countries to get that much of a foothold in your minerals and raw resources. Isn't that the lesson we learned from the past?
Well, the thing is this, that as a continent, in terms of the amount of resources that we have, there should be no poverty at all.
There should be none whatsoever.
The problem is also once, say, what is now Zimbabwe, once you want to, you set in the rules where you want the minerals to be, I think it was a couple of months ago, they said that they want to the lithium, is it lithium? The batteries, So they want the lithium to stay in the country, and they want to mine it themselves.
Build the batteries in the country,
so they can benefit themselves.
Yes.
Right after that, America gave them 2 more sanctions because they made that decision. So it's not the bully. The bully is still being the bully. So I'm critical, but to extent when it comes to the governments, African governments. But what I would like to see, and they're probably doing it, but I probably don't see it. But they should encourage more and take more red tape away for a more Pan-African business sense. Yes. If you know what I'm saying.
They are doing that. They're busy doing that. There's even talk of an African currency as well. No,
the Afro.
The only problem that we have in Africa is that in a whole, as a whole, there isn't many governments that are not either crooked or completely incompetent. Okay, so this is a problem that you have. Like Zimbabwe, when it was still Rhodesia, It was the breadbasket of Africa. Now it's totally destroyed and messed up.
But it is the sanctions as well.
Sorry?
I say that is because of the sanctions as well.
Yeah, but it started before that.
The decline.
Before the sanctions, it started.
I really wanted. There's a speech that I wish I could. I'm going to try and get it, but it probably won't. Where Mugabe says he's not stripping the white farmers of land. He's just, if you're a white farmer, you can have one farm. You're right. You know what I'm saying? But the media never showed us that part, because he wanted to give the land back, and that, you know what I'm saying? And then they gave him the sanctions. So
yeah, but the result was that the white farmers were kicked out. I mean, that was the result. And look at the agricultural
But one farm is
sector.
not really kicked out. If I give you one farm, it's not really kicking you out.
No, but
think about it.
but that was his rhetoric. But what actually happened on the ground was completely different. Okay. So anyway, but the bottom line is, look at that. I mean, so what Zambia did is Zambia told all the Zimbabwean white farmers, come to my country, and the Zimbabwean white farmers are flourishing in Zambia, and Zambia's agriculture output has increased dramatically. So all they did is just went across the border and did the same thing. And meantime, in Zimbabwe, it's a dying nation. And if we don't want to cause the scare in the country, but look at how our country's going. We don't have sanctions. We've got free trade. And look where we're going. Where we're going. We're going... Yeah, I mean, we've got a situation where we've got a government that just don't care about its people at all. But on any level, okay? And hopefully they're going to be, like we say every time, they're going to be kicked out in 2024. We've got no sanctions. We've got no problems with trade, etc. But we've got somebody that's in power that don't have a clue. So while mineral resources prices were going up internationally, we have a Gwene Matanshe, which is a communist, that wants to put all this red tape and rules and etc. And international companies want to come and invest in South Africa. But there's no clear cut on policy. Yeah. There's no clear cut. So people are saying, and you've got companies like Anglo America that's pulling out. Because now they're going and saying, listen, I want to put in a few billion, okay? What is your BE status? Okay, it's 30%. And there's no clear cut policy. So we're missing the boat in terms of minerals that we could be actually increasing our exchequer by dramatic amounts. But because we've got a communist I don't know the actual wisdom.
Well, the thinking is...
a stupid thing.
Yeah,
no,
the thinking is just not on the level of someone that should
competent.
be... Yeah.
He's 70 years old and the ideology doesn't work, okay? You can't have a government running a mine.
You can't.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And in particular, our government that have actually destroyed all state-owned enterprises. How can they possibly think they can run a mine? They can't.
Yeah,
they can't
that's
run
the
a mine.
record.
It's private enterprise that runs the mine, Yes, put royalties and whatever, put it in place, and we discuss how you can distribute the wealth properly.
That is my point that I wanted to make.
You can distribute the wealth properly.
You can.
In a proper way.
But the Anglo-America is not going to do it by themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? They need to be forced, because the history has shown how they rob the country.
Yeah, they've got a track record as well.
They've got a bad track record. Yes, so yes, force the issue, okay, but bring clarity. Say this is the way it's going to be. You have Gwene Matanshe actually said to Glencore, okay, if you don't toe the line, we're going to pull your license.
What?
You can't say that to a multinational. You know how you spook people? Multinational mining companies where when a minister of energy can turn around and say, listen, if I don't like what you do, I'll pull your license.
Yeah, I know.
You can't do that.
That's mafia tactics,
No, it's a communism mindset, man. The old draconian thing.
What did they do, though, to force that hand?
What?
What did they do, the mining company?
Why were they not towing the line?
No, well... I don't understand. I don't know what the context was, but I recall that it wasn't dramatic enough. But
it didn't quantify.
But regardless, there are channels in which you can go through corporate through courts, etc. But you don't have the Minister of Energy Affairs says that I will pull your license.
Yeah, that's
to a multi-billion rand company. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, look what happened. You know, these multinationals. There was problems about Shell franking, right? And
That was in
there
the
was a whole
Kalahari.
dispute. There was in Kuru.
Kuru.
And what did they do? They just shut the refinery in Durban. They shut down the refinery, and there was a stage where we had problems in actually getting diesel because the refinery was shut. So you know, in one way,
that's so reactive. That's not
so
solving the root.
The one in Milnerton is going to go up and running. But at one stage, we had no refineries except for Sasol. You can't mix with these companies. I mean, what the hell? So people say, but they're holding us to ransom. But negotiate. You know, don't try to be the bully.
Yeah.
So the companies can't be the bullies, right? But government can also be a bully.
Can't, and that just seems like power play and egotistical kind of moves. There's no room for that.
I don't agree with you guys, man. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying, but if we're gonna say that we're for the people and we want to, if government is doing that fight for the people, though, then I would say get aragat.
But they're not fighting for the people, our government.
That's debatable.
It's fighting for self-interest. Our government, let's be clear, our government, they don't care about the people at all. Okay, at all. So this is why, because there's this, they're frightened about losing 2024. It's completely free for all now.
What I've learned through doing this podcast, right? So we had a minister on here, and we had some politicians, and that. What I've realized that not everyone is really that bad. Like even like our business partner is ANC, but yet he criticizes them. So not everyone is that evil side of, you know what I'm saying? Some of them really try to help, but I think the system is just, the culture of the system is just not equal, man.
But obviously there are good people within the ANC, but we're talking in the main.
Leadership.
The leadership that's running our government.
They're fraud.
They're fraud.
Yeah.
The leadership, they are responsible for I get what you're saying.
And that is why the corruption is being allowed to trickle through.
It's embedded. Completely embedded. So I actually laughed. Look, there's no doubt that across the whole world there's corruption. Okay. So say for instance in Europe, if there's 100 rand available, so the corruption might be 20 rand, but 80 rand will go to service delivery. Okay. In our country, 100 rand, 90 rand will be corruption, and 10 rand will go to service delivery. This is why there's no service delivery, because it's just been stolen. So if you cared about the people, you would take a bit if you're corrupt, but the majority would go actually towards the people. It's not. It's free for all. It's crazy. Anyway. So we got.
What should have been a 5-minute segue turned into a half an hour segue.
It's half an hour. We got into it.
But it's passion.
But you know what? The bottom line is this, and let's finish that segment on a positive note. I think we all believe that things are going to turn around. Okay, I think there is hope for our country. I think there's enough positiveness in our country. That things can turn around, okay, and the reason why we have these kind of discussions because it's healthy. It's pointless having our head in the sand and not be
and tippy-toeing around it as well.
100%.
Awareness is power, right? If you're aware of a situation, it's power. It gives you power, and that is why I believe that our country is going to become one of the emerging powers in my lifetime still. I plan to live to 120, by the way. I told you this.
Yes, you have.
Yeah. So I'm only halfway. So I've got some time to go before I can actually go.
Well, I like that optimistic outlook. I think at the end of the day, we've got a new generation, these youngsters that are coming through, even in politics, in their professions, that have flocked to sort of the suburbs and the cities and stuff. These the youth of our country is basically where the real change is going to be implemented. But the leaders of old, they need to hand over, they need to step back, they need to really reflect on what they have and have not done. I think there's a lot to reflect on, and people need to just do the right thing and step down if you're not able, you know?
Yeah, I agree fully with you. But to reflect, you need to have a soul.
Well,
Just getting back to what you said now. It's the same problem. Every country has the same problem, right? Or we have problems.
Yeah.
In the States, 10,000 kids went to the government facility, what they are in Tennessee.
Tennessee, yes.
And then they betoogde.
Yeah,
And
against because they wanted to pass a bill against transgender rights.
No. It's because of the shooting.
For the shooting.
A week before that, there was a mass shooting in a school.
Yes.
And everybody knows they've got the gun problem.
Yes.
And then the kids marched to the representatives, whatever. And 3 representatives that was on the side of the kids were suspended. Because all the other older guys, they just left and didn't want to deal with it. So, just getting back to your point, where the youth is actually, I think the youth is standing up and saying, no, this is enough now. We can't deal with this reality that we're facing now because it's basic stuff that needs to be changed, man. And likewise in South Africa, I think the youth need to really, because it's their future.
It's their future.
It's also nog lang geweest, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm gonna stay at 150.
Yeah.
You guys are setting the bar high.
Very, very hopeful. Absolutely hopeful. All right. So, topic is impact entrepreneurship.
Impact entrepreneurship.
So, what is impact entrepreneurship? What is it for you? How would you interpret that?
Okay, so I think that impact entrepreneurship has become a fluid term. It's migrated from, let's say 20 years ago, it was called venture philanthropy, and then it was called social entrepreneurship, and then it migrated into a few other kind of businessy catchphrases. But for me, I feel I've always been an focused entrepreneur. So for me, it means entrepreneurship with a social and environmental impact as the goal. And partnered with that would be the economic benefit of running a business, to bring in the sustainability and the kind of the growth of the organization. But the impact and the raison d'être is never lost, you know. It's always there, whether it's an environmental product that you're putting on the market, whether it's a service that you're providing to nonprofits or the social development space. So for me, impact entrepreneurship is business with an impact as the focus and the money as the secondary kind of focus. Yeah.
Well, you know what? When I founded Kaban 10 years ago, we actually produced a new business model.
Correct.
Which, in fact, we can brag a bit. Through Ben. Ben is our partner in London. We won Innovator of the Year 2016 through Ben for our business model. And my real passion, what I'm really passionate about, and remember that you've known me for quite a few years. I went through a massive shift in 2020, May 2020. And I'm personally not very proud of certain things that I've done in the past. And I've achieved a lot. But things were said in my enthusiasm to reach to the point that I wanted to reach, which I've forgiven myself, and there are people that have not forgiven me yet. And it's something that I have to carry and have to rectify. So since my shift in May 2020, for me, impact is I'm going to list Kaban on the Cape Town stock market on the basis that I'm going to prove, and I am proving, that it is profitable to do good. Okay.
There's an actual return on impact.
There's yes, and that return on impact translates on a return on investment. Okay. So what does that mean is this? So from an impact perspective, we follow the United Nations Sustainable Model. There are 17 different impacts that one can achieve. And in our focus with the Cabane, we look at areas like agriculture, green energy, education, and industries that have a direct impact to the environment and to the people at large. Okay, so when we go into transactions, we see whether that ticks all those boxes. Okay, because that also creates jobs. And if you create jobs, you reduce unemployment. If you reduce unemployment, you reduce crime. It's very simple. Okay. So when we classify ourselves as an impact entrepreneur, it means that we're completely mindful of the actions that we take and how that impacts individuals, individuals, the planet, and also the bottom line. In that order.
I love that. It's actually then built into the DNA of your business model.
It's built into the DNA. Okay. Now, traditionally, like you said, people have said, well, traditionally, that's why capitalism has got such a bad name. Because what would happen is that the entrepreneurs and the shareholders would focus only on how much money they could
Profits,
make.
Yeah.
On how much money. And historically, and it's still a lot, it's still happening now, a lot. So then the business decisions that are made within the boardrooms of these corporates are only related to how much money they can put in the bottom line. And what has also happened, and still happening a lot, is that the CEOs and the executive team are rewarded for the increase in the value of the share. Okay. But what's happening more and more, and it's driven by consumers, okay, is the people saying, hang on, okay, so now you've made a profit, but how did you achieve that profit, okay? Did you use a sweatshop in China to manufacture, I want to mention the brand, okay? Are you utilizing a sweatshop? And because now you're manufacturing in China through a sweatshop, where the ethics of China's labor force is non-existent.
So okay? The consciousness of the consumer.
There's no conscious in China in that regard.
But the consumer consciousness is higher than ever.
Yeah. So in China, you have factories where you've got 12, 13-year-olds making goods, okay? And then it's much cheaper, all right, and which increases your bottom line. But is that ethical? Would you invest in a company that does that? Okay, so this is how the dynamic is different. So now what you have in corporate boardrooms is saying, hang on, as a corporate citizen, how can we help the community? How can we negate these practices? How can we not buy, cell phones uses a particular mineral. I can't remember what it is, and it's mined in DRC.
I saw that documentary. Yeah,
and it's children.
By children being
abused. So
makeup products as well.
Yeah,
key
makeup products.
Yeah.
So consumers are saying to cell phone companies and so on, where are you buying? Where are you procuring the mineral? Where are you going? And that's forcing the situation where people are starting to think. And that, to me, is real impact.
I think a big shift in terms of impact entrepreneurship as well came with the move that government mandated CSI onto corporates.
Yes.
So before that, there wasn't really a CSI division or department or anybody really running with the social or philanthropic ventures of the company. And then government obviously incentivized companies with points and all sorts to almost like make them give back. So I think that on a boardroom level, we're talking about, what was happening in the boardroom. I think that automatically brought the people in the boardroom closer to what's happening in the social space. It could no longer just be a conversation about money. It now also had to be a conversation about pick what you want to do to make an impact. So I think that raised the awareness of businesses that they need to do more around them. And from that sprung kind of more of an appetite for impact entrepreneurship. I don't know if you remember, but many years ago when you guys started, even the idea of incubation and incubation spaces for impact entrepreneurs or social impact ventures, it wasn't well known yet.
Yes.
I think Silicon Valley popularized the whole incubation model.
Yes.
Even social impact entrepreneurship, I think they kind of popularized it as well. So if you think of then and where we are now, and how much more of resources we have as entrepreneurs to be impactful and much more meaningful versus just being profit-driven. Why are we not seeing that, huge amount of impact businesses? That's always been my question. Why then are we not seeing that? Because it's the information age. We're in a free market economy. Yes, finances is always a stumbling block, but I mean, we are as entrepreneurial as any other nation on the planet, So why do you think we are not seeing more impact entrepreneurship since, things have actually migrated and improved, and people are buying into making a difference as well as making money?
I think there is a shift, okay.
There's a shift.
Remember, like
small,
a company,
tiny.
there is a shift, and these kind of things take time. So, for instance, a company like Anglo American, it's like 120 years old. It's like a super tanker. You can't just go a different direction, okay. It takes time, and it's embedded in a culture, and it's slowly going to get to the kind of situation. But this is one of the reasons why we started the Kaban Foundation. And that's that we're both very much involved in it. Because we want to go to corporate, and we want to say to them, look, you're spending a percentage of income on CSI to score the BE points, okay? And what is still happening in the main is corporates are ticking the box, okay? And what I mean by that is that that to get the BE points, they have to spend a percentage, and I'll give money to the Nelson Mandela Foundation, the Tutu Foundation, that kind of thing. And they put in the annual report that they put Nelson Mandela Fund, which is they're good, honourable organisations and non-profits. But what they don't report, and this is something that we in the Kaban Foundation is going to start doing or start speaking this narrative. And what we're going to say is this. Corporate, you're putting so much money in this particular projects. What is your impact return? Okay, what is it? Okay, and if you look at listed companies' annual reports, they don't. It's general. It's not specific.
It's an overview, really.
It's an overview. Yeah. So what we want to do is say, look, you put money through these organizations that we're involved in. This is the impact. You've created so many entrepreneurs. These entrepreneurs have created so many jobs. The jobs have impacted so many people. This non-profit has assisted the community. By assisting this community, this is your economic value add. So we give back actual figures.
Correct.
Which they can put in the annual report to say that this is the actual, okay. Because it's actually astronomical if you think about it. If you read financial statements of these corporates. It's very detailed. I mean, it's
usually very
it's very detailed.
line items, yeah.
No, but it's very detailed what it is, and it's required. If they follow international reporting financial standards, it's what they report. And yet, on enterprise development, which is another component, and CSI, it's general. So it will be a figure, or it will be X. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're saying, thank you for your contribution. I think that's a good thing. But why not report on the X?
Yes.
And say this is the actual impact.
Correct.
Because if we change that narrative, we want corporates to get excited and employees within corporates and say,
as they do about the profits.
Yeah, take ownership.
Yeah.
The employees take ownership.
Yeah.
And say, I suppose a very good example of that would be gift of the givers, right? So if a corporate gives money to gift of the givers can turn around and say, what we did with your money is we put in boreholes in Beaufort West where the taps ran dry, and through your money, we managed to give water to 10,000 people. That's your impact.
That's your impact.
That's your impact. 10,000 people got water. Now that to me is more rewarding. And if you're that corporate, you can turn around and you can say to the Brian and say, you know what our corporate did, we actually managed to give. I'm just using an example. Beaufort West, I think, was one. Crawford-Net. Crawford-Net is another one, actually. We help Crawford-Net for people to have water in the taps. Okay? So we want the employees of these corporates to take ownership and to feel excited. Now, in particular, the projects that we involved in.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'll give you an example. So I got Strain Hansen as a funder of Atlantis String Team, okay, which we involved in. Okay, so we give money throughout the year, etc. And through Kaban, we managed to raise in total over 6 years R1 million. Okay, it's not a lot.
Wow,
it's not a lot. But what
$1 million's a lot, Dave.
Well, but I mean, I'm not.
It's relative.
I want to do much more than that. But you know what Strain Hansen does in the annual report. And once a year in Atlantis, okay, we throw a party for 1,000 kids, okay? Now, this is a highlight.
That's been going for a while.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah. So 7 years, actually. So these kids, 1,000 kids, okay, so visualize 1,000 kids. They've got these jumping castles.
It's a soccer field.
They've got jumping castles. They get a booty roll with stuff, and they get a little party pack, okay? So now Strain Hansen's one of the biggest merchant banks in London. In the annual report, they got a picture of all these smiling kids. And the staff, I know because I know them intimately. I know the staff. They come to me and say, Dave, how are the kids doing? The staff of the company.
And that connection and knowing the impact and being that sort of hands-on almost through the foundation, they're able to actually begin to think of more that they can do. That's more giving, more impact.
Because why? It's because they feel good about it.
Yeah.
They turn around in the boardroom in London, and I've seen pictures. Pictures and that, and they sit and look at pictures and look at the smiling faces of these children. They are so happy because they got a party. They got a party.
Yeah, and it's something that they're now looking forward to annually.
So take ownership.
Yeah.
And this is what our foundation, the Kaban Foundation, that was started in the throes of COVID. I got my inspiration to set up the foundation in the middle of COVID. Okay, that's when I started.
I was going to ask you more about that.
No, it was that.
Yeah, because the foundation, although Kaban Investments have been around for 10 years, the foundation itself is fairly new. But before that, you were sort of informally doing, and now the baby's growing up now and it's getting legs. So tell me what else is going on in the foundation. I mean, I've also got a few things
Well,
my hands in a few of the pies.
Well, you're a director of the foundation. I'm honored to have you on board. So, I just thought about it, in particular during COVID. Okay, that I've got a skill set. I'm a corporate financier. Okay, so I've been raising money for entrepreneurs for 36 years. I've failed. I've had failures. And I acknowledged, even the early days of Kamban, I messed up, okay, and I shifted in May 2020. But I thought, okay, in particular because of COVID, that I've got a particular skill set, and I will utilize that skill set to make an impact as a proper impact entrepreneur, okay. So without neglecting my role and responsibility as the Group CEO of Kamban, where I've got 75 shareholders and I've got a board, which I can't, okay? But I managed to balance it so that the foundation, through the projects that we involved, with 10 projects, when we raise funding, we charge a percentage of what we raise, okay? And that percentage of what we raise, part of it goes into Kamban, okay? So that I'm proving that I'm doing good. We're doing good by raising funds for non-profits. So that's your impact. The impact is the raising of the funds that helps those particular non-profits. But a percentage of that, there's a small percentage, 7.5%, goes then, these are parties that get, but in the main comes into Kamban. Okay, because we're utilizing Kamban's skill set to be able to raise the funds. Okay.
So that's the sustainability model, so to speak.
And then Kamban investment is for profit, so it gets a reward from our time spending in raising funding.
Correct.
And you close your circle in terms of impact.
Yeah. So you essentially applying that VC model, but to the non-profit space.
Yeah.
If we think about it,
the biggest problem with civil society is that you've got all these people that are passionate about the cause, but non-profits, but they don't have business acumen. Okay. So by bringing the foundation on board, is that we now are part of our mandate within the foundation is to make non-profits self-sustainable and coming up with business principles. And how we do that is we go to a non-profit and say, okay, let's look at your services and products. How can we maybe monetize some of the services and products? And because the executive team of non-profits are so driven by the mandate of what they're trying to achieve, there isn't in the main a lot of thought process of how to monetize the product. So here comes a venture capitalist that with the impact, and you say, hang on, but maybe if you do that, you can charge for these courses and that kind of thing. And that's how the foundation was formed, and it's baby steps. As we know, we've gone through this journey, and we thought it will be easier, but it's not.
It's not.
It's a process. It takes time, and already we've had a situation where perceptions were not there, where maybe in my enthusiasm, I can always come across enthusiastic, and I make statements, willing the statements to happen. And unfortunately, sometimes the statements are taken as fact, and I'm made accountable for the statements. And so now I've learned to keep quiet. So when I want to say something enthusiastically, I think, don't say.
Well, you know what? Not everybody is going to be for you as in a partner, or meant to kind of run that kind of race with you. But maybe just highlight for the listeners the 3 focus areas that the foundation is actually driving and what we're doing in those spaces. Because I think it's important that people get to know who you and I are. We bring entrepreneurs here and, they share their stories. But maybe today's opportunity for people just to learn a bit more about why we are even doing this.
So there are three fundamental areas in Kaban Foundation where we engage with other nonprofits, and we're engaging with 10 nonprofits. We're sticking to 10. So the first one is we aim to make the nonprofits that we're involved in self-sustainable through the mechanisms that I just articulated earlier. Secondly, we will raise funds for nonprofits in a way that ultimately they become self-sustainable. Okay, so we insist on business plans, we insist on pitch decks, we insist on some business principles to show that there is a plan to become self-sustainable. So it's not just money going to a black hole.
And it's not just one-sided. These are organizations that have been around and have some level proven their impact in the community.
Yeah, and one is, there's a couple of startups, NGOs, because our passion is startups, be it in entrepreneurship, but also NGOs. So they are, but yes. And then the third aspect, now I'm just thinking about what you're saying.
What?
And about the fact that there are some non-profits that are actually startups. I mean, we talk about Keller Earth, which is a better situation. Well,
so it's not an either or.
No, it's not an either or.
It's about the space that they are impacting,
yes,
and also who the foundation can reach, because that's important. It needs to make sense.
The third aspect is we then get hands-on in non-profits that we're involved in. Okay, and what I mean hands-on is we might cook in a kitchen, we give free mentorship to their members.
The
podcast is part of our
situation. We ain't getting paid for this, y'all.
No, so this is also to showcase entrepreneurs. It's part of bringing their voice to them, and that is part of our giving to these entrepreneurs, to showcase what they're doing and promote them. And what I mean hands-on as well is we're helping 29 school kids in Loyal Marine School. Shout out to Loyal Marine School.
Hey, y'all.
And we formed a club. And what we actually did there is, instead of just teaching these grade 11s and to matrics how to draft a business plan, what we did is we actually broke them up into 5 entities. Now they're going through a process of forming companies, and as they form the companies, they're actually building the
very
business
exciting
plan.
Process.
So when we talk about vision and mission, an appointment of a CEO, and what's your strategy, what's your marketing strategy, what's your target market, how much money you need to get it off the ground, where you're going to get the money. We're getting them to think from a practical perspective, not a theoretical perspective, but a practical perspective of how to set up a business. And in so doing, they're creating the business plan.
So these are live businesses that will...
Live businesses and making money.
Trading,
As school kids, they're making money. Okay. So that's the third aspect, that we hands-on in doing that kind of...
Well, hold on, pause. I think I'm also just so in love with the whole project. I heard, I think it was you that said, one of the businesses got offered an equity shareholder approached them.
So I got WhatsApp. So it's the beauty business.
The beauty ladies. Okay.
Yeah. So these school kids, what they're doing is they're doing the hair for the other school kids, and they're charging a fee. And then what we're going to be doing is our next session, which is going to be after 12th of April when they come back.
And school open.
We're going to then now slowly migrate them and start offering over the weekends to the services that they provide in Simonstown. So part of our input is to now get them clients so they're making money.
Yes.
Okay? So they appointed a COO, Chief Operating Officer, which is great. So they're understanding the terms, what the chief CEO does and the COO.
Well, they're young business people now.
So talking about jumping the gun a bit. So what she says, one of the teachers wants to invest.
Lovely.
Wants to invest. How do we go about it? I said, whoa, geez, now we're really getting investors involved, and then we'll brief you on how to
placement.
do it. But I mean, when I read it, I just like, it made me feel
it's
unbelievable.
Rewarding. It's very rewarding. Awesome. I've got one team that I'm working on their business plan, helping them with their business plan. And I'm telling you, these are like 16 to 19-year-olds. And their thinking is on such a phenomenal scale. I mean, we are talking about the acquisition of land for brand new farming concepts in the marine sector. So it's really groundbreaking stuff as well. And like, we're talking about the foundation and how interwoven everything is. That would inevitably, if we really want to help these guys reach the finish mark, it would spill over into fundraising. And possibly getting more equity partners too, So for me, I'm really invested in the success of what we've started at the school. Yeah.
You know what?
Very much.
My dream. We are going to list Caban Investments on the Cape Town stock market.
Whoop, whoop.
The Cape Town.
What is your anticipated timeline?
I hate to put, because I'm going to be hot to it. I'm going to have one of the Caban shoulders.
This is why the word estimated.
Listen to it, and he said, but you said.
It's the word estimated.
Do not hold me to it.
But I mean, you also
3 to 4 years.
That's excellent. You need to have goals.
Okay, so I'm taking a part of my personal shareholding in Caban Investments, and I'm putting that under the foundation.
Okay.
I haven't worked out what percentage and that, but ultimately, if I have to look into the future, I will always be involved in Caban Investments, and my passion is to help entrepreneurs. I've been doing that for 36 years.
Old and young.
Old and young. Yeah. But that is my passion, to help entrepreneurs, and I love to see a concept grow and become reality. So that is my passion.
That is your passion since I've met you, since day one.
And I've messed up in Caban badly.
But these are the lessons that we speak about,
But
these
you
have
to live with those consequences of the mistakes.
They're very real failures, and they had very real impacts, but they become lessons. At that time, you feel failing. But in retrospect, they were lessons, and you don't repeat them again,
So I have apologized to my Caban shareholders a few years ago, and an apology is only as good as you're able to turn it around and create the return on investment that you should be, which I'm on my path. I am on the path.
Yes, indeed.
But one day I envisage where people will come and say, okay, Caban Foundation, here's 100 million rand, here's 200 million rand, here's... And these are big figures, okay? But, I like the work that you're doing. I don't want to wait. Like Gift of Givers had to wait 30 years to get traction. And it's really, now they've got phenomenal traction. But imagine if they had that kind of funding right at the beginning. Okay? So my heart lies that I want to assist the civil society in South Africa, and the foundation's that vehicle for me. So my time is not... I've spent more time in Caban Investments than Caban Foundation, but Caban Investments will get a return on my time. But ultimately, I want to just look at, when you talk about impact, right? Look at Syria. We had a year.
Yes.
Right?
Design 26.
She's got the land. She's got the land.
I think I shared something. I constantly go on. I constantly see her stuff, and I try to share it just to... be a part of just to be a part of that energy,
She's got the land.
She's got the land.
Signed contract. Yeah. Signed contract. And now I'm engaging her on a weekly basis, and now we're going
Next
to raise the
stage.
money.
Yeah.
She's got some of the money. I mean, she's a rock star. Now that is an impact entrepreneur to the
Correct.
true sense.
Yeah.
You want to know the definition? Surya Williams. Go check her out. Okay.
And she's doing well. She's busy raising
Yeah,
funding
so
for the
she's
next
raising funding.
phase.
She managed to get an architect pro bono. So I didn't engage her this week, but I'm going to engage her next week. And that's one of the projects the foundation is
Correct.
involved
And I
in.
mean, the audience or donors out there, they can
Yeah.
actually contact
Go
us.
back a buddy.
Yeah.
I think
Go
we'll just
to
let
Facebook
everybody know,
page.
what's his name?
Surya
Surya,
Williams.
she was, for all those that don't know, we have a podcast with Surya Williams. You can go on Facebook or on the Facebook, on YouTube and just
Yes.
search it. I think it's
On the YouTube on
3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it's about a month ago. Yeah. So on Cap Conscious Media, go check it out.
Oh,
It's
no,
also, I
gotcha.
think did we put a podcast on our foundation?
The
page?
foundation page has
Are you
all
sure
the
it's there?
podcasts. Yeah.
So go check it out. She's on Backer Buddy. Go support her. Buy a brick. Go
Phenomenal
support her.
project.
Phenomenal
It's going
project.
to empower a lot of unemployed females in the Mitchells Plain area. She's teaching and mentoring sewing skills, design skills. Yeah.
So Kaban's very much involved with this. I mean, this is such a beautiful project, and the beauty of it is that if you put money to her foundation, you get a tax certificate where you can claim the money back from your income. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So who would you give your money to? SARS or to Hope Foundation, where we're building this beautiful complex in Mitchells Plain.
Design
Mitchells
26
Plain,
is
and
where it's
Mitchells
at.
Plain needs this kind of activity.
Mitchells Plain needs a boost. They need positive outcomes and projects because it's all just been, even since the exit of COVID and that, people are still struggling. People are just not bouncing back as well as everybody would assume. So in terms, just back to the foundation and the organizations that we are supporting, can you maybe just give a rundown of that, and we can actually...
We're doing a pitch, Samantha.
I think it's important for the listeners to know. So there's Design 26.
Okay,
Let's
so
talk about
there's-
maybe the top 3 that
Okay.
we'd like to see,
funding
funding coming in for and being supported.
Okay.
And I'll speak about what sort of funding events and things that we might be having.
So our top ones would be Design 26, our own education one, BFG Education Solutions, which we
Raising
directors
the
are
bursary
involved.
funding for. Yeah.
And what that foundation, that non-profit's going to be doing is addressing the disaster state of our education. We've got Fagan and Kim, and they're rock stars. They're passionate
Blask.
educators.
Blask rocking the seed.
Blask, they rock. Blask, they've got a podcast here, and they rock. Those guys.
Register.
Yeah, and we part of that.
Yeah.
Doing that. We're also now part of Ikela Earth, where it's restoring the oceans, which it's a new one that we.
That's a
get
huge
involved in.
environmental project.
One.
Yeah.
A Dream Exchange. What Dream Exchange does is takes unemployed people and matches with corporate with piecework. Okay, and they've done this successfully over the years.
The numbers are
They've
phenomenal.
got 300,000 people, and Ronald, we've become good friends. His ambition is to employ 10 million people. Okay, so we aligned. He wants to, but he does.
I love it.
The match 300,000. 300,000, okay, on his platform.
Yeah.
So that's aligned with our philosophy of creating sustainable solutions. Yeah, and I mean,
Awesome.
the Ruben Reaches Foundation, he does activities empowering delinquent youth and bring them in society. Yeah, and those are quite exciting. We also got an animal foundation that we also involved in. And what we're going to be doing now, while we're trying to raise funds for these particular non-profits, is we're also going to start having events, which you're going to be organizing. As so just to get money. Oh, and mother, oh my word.
Yes.
A mother, which is community-based non-profit, which Muse Kitchen is part of it. And now and again, we're in the kitchen cooking.
Volunteering.
That's hands-on. That's the third aspect of what we do. We roll on. And Muse Kitchen is something phenomenal. We had Sandy here. That's one of the 3 people that run it. And we're very proud of being involved with Muse Kitchen.
And they, Amava is largely involved with community development, outreach, upskilling
in particular, through storytelling and that. So, those are the ones that we involved in. We're trying to make a difference, and we are now gearing ourselves to start raising funding through different activities. So if there's any businessmen out there and women, business persons that share that kind of passion that you and I share,
yes,
then come and talk to us. And in fact, another non-profit that we also involved is Cap Conscious Media, where we are going to be training school kids about media and podcasting.
Lovely.
Podcasting is the future. So I've been humbly asked to sit on the board and assist in that process, which I've accepted. And we're going to raise funding for that, also through events, etc., so that we can train youth podcasting. And if they do it right, it's a good money generator for them once they're trained. And it's a broad spectrum of activities, but it's very, very exciting.
And I like that it is actually it's interlinked.
Yes,
it's not completely isolated. The projects. But now in terms of the events, I would like to obviously get as many people through as possible. But we'll be posting our inaugural fundraising event. That will be on the Caban Foundation Facebook page. So watch out for that. And
it's the Caban Foundation.
The Caban Foundation, NPC.
On the Facebook page.
Correct, yeah.
And our website is in progress.
We'll put it up, yeah. We can put it up.
Yeah, and we're going to have an event soon.
So we'll have an event soon. We'd like you to come through and support, irrespective of whether you're an individual, whether you're with the business or working in corporate or an entrepreneur yourself and looking to maybe develop your own CSR, your own giving. That is the space that we want you to come and network in and come and get involved, get hands-on. Share your ideas with us. We are thinkers, and we're in a creative zone at the moment, both with the foundation and our individual projects as well. So
it's up.
It's up now. So look out for that.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up now. So I want to leave today's podcast with a very fundamental message that's very dear to my heart. And so everybody turns around and says we want to change the discourse of our country, okay? Because it's messed up. There's no question about it. And if you go to dinner parties, you go to a braai, there are a lot of critics involved, and which is rightly so. We complain about load shedding, etc., etc. But what are you doing about it? Okay, we criticize these things, and rightly so. But what are you doing about it? And don't say you can't do anything. Okay, everybody's got a skill set. Most people got a bit of change. You can make a difference. Everyone can make a difference. Okay, the only difference between people like myself and Sam and the general population is we turn around and say, okay, we can utilize our skills to make a difference. So I challenge you that if you want to change the situation in our country, do it. Don't say you can't. Don't say you don't know what to do. Okay, if you really want to make a difference, contact us, and we'll see how you can get involved. But get involved, please, people. Civil society is what's keeping our democracy alive. Get involved. Find a time. Make the effort. Bring the energy. Contact us. See how you can get involved. If it's not money, it's in time. But get involved. On that note, I bid you farewell. Sam?
Thank you, everybody. It's been amazing as usual. You know where to find us.
And Nanto Rockstar.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
Good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.